it's just what people
Whatever you do,
did.
people are going to talk shit.
People are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And when I was like younger, it used to like really bother me and whatever. But like when I started to notice, and then I kind of grew out of it, right? Because you get older, you leave. I lived in New York. I feel like when I moved to LA and I started to experience it in the South Asian community here, I did withdraw for a while because I was like, this reminds me of high school.
Yeah.
And I'm now re-engaging, but in a way that feels more comfortable to me, which is like, I'm like, I can't get involved in like the weeds of some of this stuff. I didn't go to stuff for a while because I was like, I can't deal. Anyway, it was a lot.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. What were we talking about though before all of this? Wait, where'd you grow up again? Jersey. Okay, wait. How many Indians were in your high school?
So many. Well, I definitely grew up. There was a lot of Indians, but there was like a lot of mix of like Asians and Americans and a bunch of different.
It was
mixes.
diverse.
It was very diverse. But yes, I was hanging out with the Indians. I wasn't like part of the cool. There were like cool Indians and the nerdy Indians. I was like the nerdy.
Really? That surprises me.
No, well, I became cool in college. I think college is when
Where'd you go?
Georgia Tech. So I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I think I needed that new environment to be like, all right, cool. Like I kind of knew I was unique, but I think in high school I kind of like, I don't know, I actually enjoyed like being a nerd. Like I had nerdy friends and I was social, but at the same time I think I was like, oh yeah, I accept exactly. I wasn't part of like the cool people, the popular people, but I was like, I accept exactly who I am.
Wait, were the popular people Indian?
So there was,
because we didn't have that. You had to be like white to be popular.
There were like popular Indians, definitely, and but like a few, I feel. But there were like different cliques and crews of popular people.
Okay. Yeah, we were like, our school was diverse, but still like the cheerleaders and like the voted best smile, like it was like the Rachels and the Stephanies. And that was, even though we had a lot of like Indian people, that was still part of it. But then we had like a whole scene outside of high school, like Fogana, and I did Bharatanatyam.
Wow.
So we had like a whole scene.
And where did you grow up?
Detroit.
Oh yeah, Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it was interesting because like the Bharatanatyam girls all like hated me because they're so like there's like a certain discipline.
Yes.
So the people that take it tend to be like more serious.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm really disciplined, but I'm like weird.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I just remember my mom, like she would come to class sometimes and be like, she would literally be like, people hate you.
Stop.
And I was like,
mom, just be blunt.
She was like, they like, are you okay? And I was like, no. But I really liked classical dance, so I just stayed with it for like many, many years. And then it got a little bit better as I got older, but I still remember that feeling. And then in school, I don't know, it was just
because also Detroit has so many Indians.
I know.
Huge.
I thought that was everywhere until I left for Wisconsin.
And Detroit, all the Indians know each other.
They do.
Hence, you know my cousin.
Yeah.
Tiffany Didi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tiffany.
Shout out Tiffany.
She was the OG South Asian podcaster.
Yes, she was.
Like she had a podcast 10 years ago.
She did.
I know. Tiffany, we have been talking, if you're listening to this, we have been talking about you resurrecting, what was it, Chai Tea Party?
Yes, Chai Tea Party.
Okay, to be fair, that's a little bit offensive to us.
It is.
But you would revamp it.
It was the first of its kind.
Actually, to be fair, if it was resurrected, Starbucks would sponsor it.
I believe that.
But so Tiffany Buxey lived down the street from me.
That's wild.
And me and her used to, you know, like when you're Indian, like my parents wouldn't, like when I couldn't drive, you have to rely on your parents to take you places to go out. And like, we weren't really allowed to go out that much.
No.
And so you end up just being close to people that live close to you.
Yeah.
And Tiffany lived like 2 blocks over.
That's wild. I also went to her house so many times too.
Did you?
Oh yeah. Well, our parents are very close. We traveled to India together. Oh my God, we
so
caused
weird.
a ruckus in India.
I can imagine you and Tiffany doing that.
I think at this point we were both in college.
Yeah.
And you know how Indian people stare at you?
Yeah.
I remember we'd sit in cars and we'd stare back at all the men. And it was just, and then we'd just be laughing the whole trip. Our moms were so annoyed. They were like, can you please stop laughing? And we'd just egg each other on and keep laughing and laughing at the stupidest things.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun.
I took a friend to India once, Mary, obviously not Indian. And my mom took us to her friend's photography studio. She's like, oh, you guys can get your pictures taken. And so we get there and every single picture that they had put up as a sample was like Indian people like this, like really serious.
Yeah.
And so my friend and I were the opposite of that. We were in saris and we were just like laughing and playing. And my mom was getting more and more embarrassed the more we would laugh. So then we would laugh harder. And I laughed so hard I peed myself while the photographer was photographing
In a
us.
sari?
And then I started screaming during the shoot. I'm like, I'm peeing my sari.
How old were you?
Like 21.
See, that would have been fine if you're like, oh, I was 10.
Like,
so 21?
It was like not that, I mean, it was a long time ago, but I wasn't young. It was like, yeah, and so we have these pictures framed where I still have this memory of like, I was fully peeing myself while they were taking that picture. And my mom was about to cry. Like it was.
I sympathize with your mom. If that was my daughter, I'd be like, you on your own. Goodbye.
No, but it's crazy because then a few years later, we went back to that studio and they had replaced all of the pictures of the serious looking people with pictures
you peeing
of us.
Yourself.
Yes, with pictures of us laughing. And they told us that people liked those pictures so much that it changed the culture of their studio. They're like, now whenever people come here, they want to smile. And that was revolutionary for them.
You were like, you are welcome for me pissing myself. Thank you so much.
I have not.
You changed the game. You really did.
I have not thought about that like since it happened, because it's something that you can only like Mary gets it, because like to her it wasn't weird that I peed myself because she was there and it was that funny. But I understand,
like it's India, where it's like in India people are like pissing and shitting
everywhere.
In the streets.
It doesn't matter.
Like,
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
it's fine. It's India.
But it is interesting in general. It's like I think being like playful, people think of it as like silly or stupid.
Yeah.
So you get it. Like being a brown woman in comedy, I'm like, I feel like growing up, people thought I was like stupid or like when I would make jokes or I would be funny or whatever. And it took a long time for people to see it as like
a strength.
A strength.
For sure. I felt the same way, right?
What would they do? My cousin, one of my kakis called me Halili, which like at the sake of sounding not PC, like in Gujarati, that basically means like retarded. Like I probably can't include this in there, but that's like what it means.
Yeah.
And she would call me that all the time.
Oh yeah.
What would they
Well,
do?
here's the thing. My dad's really silly too, but he's also like super well educated, very right, like peak of his professional game.
What does he do?
Like, he was in engineering. So he was in engineering and then project management.
Okay.
And then also like he gets asked to speak a lot at conferences and travel the world. And so he's done it all. And so I guess it's like it was okay for him to be silly. But like I also think, like growing up, like I mean the silly person's never like the smartest one in the room, I guess.
At least for us, yeah.
At least for us.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you do dance growing up?
I did.
What did you do?
I think my mom tried to put me in Bharatanatyam and I just wasn't. I was like, I want to do whatever.
You're like wiggling around.
You know what I mean? Like I like the fusion Bollywood kind, but I also like wasn't really that good at dancing growing up. It was just me and my cousins jumping around everywhere. Like I don't think we did do shows and stuff, but I don't think I became quote unquote good until college when I was actually like I joined a dance team. And so then I was on a fusion dance team. So it was like hip hop, Bhangra, Garba, and it was just everything.
Like all of it.
All of it. But I think that's when I finally felt like I was like, okay, cool. I think I'm good at it. But when I was younger, I felt like I wasn't good at anything, honestly. My parents put me in everything. They put me in soccer, basketball, guitar, piano, dance. It was so funny. I tried all of that. Super mediocre. I tried acting when I was maybe like 12 or 13 and killed it. Like I was part of a play, this and that. But it was like this phase of like, okay, she was really good at that, but then it just...
You don't know what to do with it, right?
You don't know what to do with it. And then I joined high school.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, okay, well, that was
Theater's not for us. Yeah.
Theater's not for us.
That's so true, because in 8th grade, I was in a speech and drama class and I did theater and I was so good. And then by high school, it was like, oh, that's not for us.
Exactly.
What is
like? It was just like a pastime hobby, transitional thing, and of course, I mean, at that time, I don't blame our parents for like, we didn't know actually take this seriously because
we couldn't.
Exactly. I mean, also I don't think we had the resources at the time, right? Like at that
point,
examples,
or like
YouTube wasn't even a thing. Like even getting access to even putting yourself out there, technology wasn't even a thing.
The internet didn't
just make a video and post it. We had to get the camera and set it up and then VHS and all this stuff. And so I did
do that stuff.
I did that stuff too. I did that stuff too. I made a birthday video for my little bro where I would like film a bunch of scenes where I was like around the house just goofing off and then like threw in like old memories of us too. And I made it all on a VHS tape and gave it to him.
That's all we have.
And it was like my first intro to like, ooh, I think I'm really good with like video and editing and stuff. And I was like 13.
Yeah. I was good at shooting. Editing, I didn't figure out till later.
I would literally edit though on the VCR. I would like.
Can you do that?
We had a VCR where you could like. I hooked it up. I hooked it up to like. Remember the chunky like video cameras?
Yes.
And you would like press record and stop and record and stop. So I would like play the video from the camera and then it would like go onto the VHS, and like that's kind of how I would edit. I haven't thought about that.
We edited too, but I don't remember because we used to make home movies, but I don't remember how.
Like we didn't have any, like I didn't have a computer or like any software or anything. I was literally doing it on the VCR itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So crazy.
I don't remember.
And the video camera too.
Yeah. No, I don't remember. I just remember seeing, like, now my nieces and nephews make home movies, but they put ours to shame. Because they can add like effects and sounds, they can edit
and like transitions and all this stuff.
I'm like, but then because everyone can do that, everyone's stuff now looks
exactly
like that. I do wonder if more young people from our community will like enter this creative space sooner.
I think the people already are realizing that, right? Like people are realizing like, oh, instead of getting a college degree, I'm going to go and become a content creator and make more money than I would make studying for 4 years and then getting a beginner job somewhere. And you know what I mean? Like they're realizing now, they're you can make really good money off of it, which is wild.
Well, it's like crazy. So one of my friends, I became friends with her through collaborating with her. Her name is Shah. She's a physician, but my first ever film project was I made a documentary following 6 South Asian and Black women ER physicians through the pandemic, and she was one of them.
That's so
and it was
cool.
really fun. It was kind of funny. Like, I know that sounds weird. It was like them drinking in the morning and like not studying for boards and like being like, what the fuck is going on? Like it was like
no one knows what to do during COVID, but you're doing such a good job.
Yeah. Like, good job, you're doing it. But so she was in that, and she was really funny in it. And then she auditioned for Lonely Girl, the comedy pilot I wrote.
Wow.
And I cast her in it. Like, she was really, really good. And actually yesterday at the South Asian Happy Hour, Rupak, this other guy that was in my pilot, the scenes that we shot, he brought her up. He's like, how's she doing? Is she acting now? Like, what, because she was just so naturally gifted.
Yeah.
And it was hard because, and maybe I'll be able to leave this, maybe I won't, but like, it's hard because she went to med school. She's our age. She did med school. She did residency. She practices. Even like the financial risk of her leaving something like that to pursue creative full time, she can't do what we're doing, where she can just like leap. Yeah. Because there has to be some kind of net. And so it was really interesting. And she did tell me, she's like, when I was younger, I really wanted to be an actor. And my family was just like, no, like you have to be a doctor. So she did it. And like, it's just so interesting. It made me think a lot about how it will probably be different for younger generations because it's more democratic now. Yeah. But yeah, she was so good in it. And I'm like, you just never know where talent is going to come from. Yeah. And so people that watch the documentary and then the pilot, they're like, wait, is she the physician from the first one? I'm like, yeah, you never know.
Damn.
So how did you decide what were you doing before comedy? And then how did you get here?
Yeah, I was doing finance, like literally FP&A, cost budgeting.
What is FP&A?
Financial planning and analysis. So basically like I'm
a dummy. What's FP&A?
So I worked with software companies and this isn't like rocket science. I feel like anyone could do what I did, but I would just evaluate companies.
I probably couldn't.
How much money certain teams had to spend and then like what they were making and what are the targets and did they meet the targets and why didn't they meet the targets? And then you go into like analysis on it and then you report back and then you do it every single month. And like there was literally one point where I was like, oh no, we were supposed to spend 200K and we only spent 150K. Like, who cares? I don't even, but then they're like, oh no, but the budget gets slashed, right? There's all these things where I'm like, I don't care that this $1 billion company didn't meet their targets. I could care less. I was literally only doing it for the money. But I'm really glad though, because in my 20s, I was literally like traveling, going to a bunch of weddings, just like hanging out with my friends and not really, I'd never had to worry about money. But then I think through that though, I was like, I started discovering a lot of different passions where I'm like, hold on. Like
how did you do that? Like what made you just like, what were you playing with it? Were you doing stand up? Like how did it happen?
It happened where, and I have to give a lot of my friends and family credit for this. I started getting asked to perform at weddings. Like people are like, hey, can you either like make a speech? Can you do a skit? Can you MC? Can you do a dance? And then I would kind of take it a step further where like I started writing funny skits that would make fun of like the bride and groom and do like pre-recorded voiceovers in it. Like I made it like this crazy production.
That's amazing.
Where I'd get like all their different groups of friends and then I would choreograph dances for like the non-Indian people and stuff because they love being a part of it. And so I would like make this like nice little performance for them that kind of tells their story and gets everyone together. And through that, and even just like getting behind the mic, people were just like, you need to be doing this more often. Like there's something that you need to be exploring a little bit more. And that's when I think I felt fully alive, where I was like, oh wait, you know, I love spreading energy. I love like curating a vibe and elevating it and adding to it in any way I can, even if it's being funny or cheesy or whatever it is. But I think through that, I started doing improv, took some improv classes. And then from there, I started taking stand-up classes. And then, but this was all while I had my finance job because I was like,
kind of have to, I get it. Like I started doing stand-up when I still worked at Shutterstock back in like 2013. Oh, wow. I would just like sneak off after work. And actually a friend of mine from work, Henry, who I still create with to this day, he now lives out here too. He worked at Shutterstock as well at the front desk, and he would come with me to my stand-up shows and give me feedback. And then he started performing too.
Oh, that's so cool.
And like we thought we were just doing it for fun, but lo and behold, like what is it, 2025, 12 years later, I'm doing my first solo show April 17th in San Francisco, and he's directing it. And I'm like,
cool.
life is so funny. Like you just don't know. Like at the time, it just seemed like a fun thing.
Yeah. And what were you doing before? You said you were working at Shutterstock.
Yes, I worked at Shutterstock, which is like a tech company for a while. And then
what were you doing for them?
I helped them launch new products specifically in the video space.
Oh.
So I helped them launch a platform where we were curating, or I was curating, people who were teaching through video. So we were building a platform where people could take online courses. But through that was like when Vine, Snapchat, Instagram, like everything first came out back in 2013. So I was basically onboarding thousands of creators over the course of many years. And so like Zach King, for example, was teaching on our platform. And then 2 weeks later, he like went viral on Vine and then was on Ellen DeGeneres. So I got to like
witness that and be a part of it.
Yeah, like I was like, it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
Vine
was crazy back in the day.
Vine was insane. And then Twitter bought it and shut it down.
Yeah. Well, Vine was like mini TikTok.
It was.
Kind of. Yeah.
It actually, I think, created the path to TikTok.
Yes.
Right?
Because I agree.
It was like short form video. It was more irreverent.
Anyone could make a Vine, right?
Anybody could make it. And it was less literal.
Yeah.
It was the biggest departure I've ever seen from the style of like commercial TV. Like I remember knowing, I'm like, oh, commercials are so boring compared to Vines, and you can shoot Vines on your phone. So I remember. So then when I left Shutterstock, I started a company called Siteworthy, where we connected brands to video editors to turn their content into like we would train editors on how to help brands shape their footage into short form video. And we were a TikTok partner. So I did that for many years before I started doing this. So I loved it, but also like there was a point at which I was like, I want to be the creator.
Exactly.
Like
you want to be in it. You have to be doing it.
I was like, I don't like, well, and because, okay, God bless, like now I can say this out loud, like these brands that are making these videos, like there's so much red tape in terms of like what they're able to approve. So the brands that are able to pay the most money often have the least flexibility. So I was like, I'm not doing like, for me, advertising was not the most creative use of my talent.
Yeah.
So it was like almost there, but not there.
Got it.
And then slowly I worked my way over to this. But I'm really grateful that I became good at digital video through this.
Yeah.
So I've like seen so many different styles through which you can do things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I did before I got into all of this.
Wow. And then when was it? When did you go like full-time creative?
So when I started, I was still living in New York when the pandemic started. And that's when I started working on what became a documentary. It was just me recording conversations between me and my cousin to start. She's an ER physician and she had an interesting story. And so I started recording those conversations, and then one thing led to another. And then I got it funded through a production company in Brooklyn and made a 50-minute documentary. Then I moved out here, went through a breakup, wrote a comedy pilot. And I feel like at some point in the last maybe like 2.5, 3 years, that's when I went at it full time.
Wow.
Like let go of my start, like let go of that being full time. Realized like, I was like, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
And that felt good.
Yeah.
And it felt like, I'm so curious if you feel this way. Like I felt like I was good at it in a way where the opportunities were more boundless.
Yes.
I was like, there's no ceiling here.
Yeah.
Whereas like with my job, I'm like, I didn't know that I felt this way, but I did. I was like, there's only so good I'm going to be at this.
Exactly.
Like, I'm okay.
Yeah. I feel the same way even when like now I'm into acting. I do commercials now and shoots and stuff. And I would go to these shoots and in my head I would be like, oh, I would write that differently. I would do that differently. And then so I started now learning about production and started becoming like a PA on sets because the production aspect of things really fascinates me because you have creative control. You know what I mean? Like you know how you can portray yourself the best. And once I started doing that, I'm very fascinated in that as well and kind of want to venture in there because there's, again, opportunities are endless.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny because I like writing and I like acting.
Yeah.
I don't want to produce.
Really?
No.
I love that because it's all about working with people, understanding what their strengths are, and then like just putting it all together. And I'm like, I think I have that mindset of like, if you just find the right team and you find the right people and you have a vision and you know how to, I mean, it's going to be so much work, but I'm like, ooh, I would put in that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you produce, so how did you get started? Like you produce a really big comedy show with all South Asian comics.
Yeah.
How did you get started doing that?
So I came to LA and I kind of wanted to be a part of like people's shows. And no one was taking me. So I was like, all right, I think one of my friends was like, why don't you just put on your own show? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I never even thought I could do that. But I literally started contacting venues, started going to other people's shows, seeing how they produce, getting connections, networking, this and that, where now I decided like, all right, cool. I'm going to book out a venue. I'm going to reach out to comics that I know, which I knew. My first show I did was, I think in like 2022, reached out to a bunch of comics that were my friends, told them that I wanted to do this show around my birthday, made it like this birthday show so people would show up. But yeah, I sold out. It was at Haha Comedy Club. And it was, I didn't realize what I did until afterwards. Because for me, I was just like, okay, I book out the venue and then like, let me create this lineup and I'm going to do a bit and this and that. But it was, I think it came so
naturally. You were in the flow.
I was in my flow. And then later, like literally, my bro was like, you just like, you did that. Like you created your own event. Like now you can do whatever. You can create any kind of event you want. If you did that, people are doing that with groups of people, that it takes groups of people to do what you did. You're just doing that alone. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. Cool.
Your brother said that to you?
Yeah. And
brother.
I know. So supportive. He came and all my friends came and it was, yeah, I think it was like a moment where I also like made it like my own, I put my own spin to it where it was also like Diwali. So I wrote literally everybody like personalized handwritten notes and then gave everyone a diya and like.
I love Diwali.
I love Diwali too. I kind of like at the end of the show, I made it like, hey, listen, like, there is a fire in all of us. I encourage everyone to like light it, follow your passions, this and that. And so I kind of put my own spin to comedy shows where it's cool to make fun of people. I'll let the comics do that, but I'm also here to uplift people and create this like dope vibe where afterwards, I want everyone to meet. I want everyone to, make new friends and get to know the comics and stuff. I feel like so many shows you go to, there's so much red tape on like, you can't meet these people and you have to leave immediately. And there's no like community involved after it. And so even with the Bourbon Room, my last show.
I love the Bourbon Room, by the way. It's the best venue.
It closed down.
It did.
I know, because I was so sad because during the fires, I was contacting my guy and I was like, hey, I want to plan my next show, and he was like, he's like, oh, we're undergoing a lot of change in management right now, and because of the fires, everything's delayed. And then finally, I was like reaching out to him, for my next show, and he literally just told me, he was like, Bourbon Room will be closed. And
is it because of the fires?
I think it's just because of change in management. I literally have no idea.
I guess it'll just reopen to something else.
Yeah. But it's such a good venue.
That's where I went to my first Trash Tuesday, the podcast. They did a live event there.
Oh, yeah, they do so many live events
they
there.
do.
Music, podcasts, like shows, everything. And you feel it's like a classy venue. You feel like,
and it's not too big, but it's not too small.
Exactly.
Like it felt intimate when I went. It felt
intimate, and then they have the space right outside the bar where you could go and talk and stuff. So for me, I'm like, oh, this is ideal.
I liked it because when you would go to that bar space, there's like two other rooms.
Yeah, there's other rooms.
I liked meeting people from other shows.
Yeah, because there were other events happening during that time too. Like I think that room was closed off, but no one knew. So there's people from my show going in that room. Like I was like, yeah, everyone should just mingle and
my friends and I figured out a good pickup ruse at at the Bourbon Room. So
What?
it was just me and her, and we saw these two guys, and I thought one of them was cute. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you're gonna go up to them and say like, my friend at the bar wants to get you a drink. My friend at the bar wants to get you a drink.
Ooh,
and
I
was
like
that's
that.
hard
The
to say. Like,
forwardness. I love
yeah.
the forwardness. I
So
love
because
that.
I was like, otherwise we're not going to talk to each other. They're at
Yeah.
a different show.
Yeah.
So we didn't know if it was going to work, but we're like, what's the worst that could happen? They say no.
Yeah.
So I see her go and do it. And then they both come up to the bar, and the guy was like, I actually have a girlfriend, but he's like, I had to come over and say hi because like that never happens to men.
wow.
They're like, women like never do that. So they're
Yes,
like,
I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I mean, I was like, at the end of the day, the stakes were low. Like if you
course.
said no, and then we ended up going to a strip club with them.
Stop!
And the guy's girlfriend came.
That's
so
amazing.
I got to meet her.
Wait, that's the best story ever.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you on like, also, I got
Yeah.
no time to waste. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to do the whole, like, I fucking me, like, we're like, make it like, sometimes I'm like, listen, I'm just going to go up, straight up, say what's
Also,
up.
it's fun. Like,
It is.
I like games.
Yeah.
Like not games in the sense of like playing games with people,
Yeah.
but games in the sense of like just kind of playing with interaction.
Exactly.
And-
or
and-
changing stuff up because I feel like guys are not approached.
They
in that
literally
way.
were like, we're going to think about this for a while. Like this
They
does
probably
not
told
happen.
all their friends, they're like,
Yeah.
yo, this cutie at the bar came up to me. And I shouldn't even know I was in a relation like that. You probably made their night.
No, they were, I mean, think about it. We get offered drinks all the time.
All
I
the
think
time.
they don't.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, and I have to mention it because I was dying when I saw his post last night. When I saw Kabir's post about the trip to Bali.
I literally replied and I was like, is this what you decided at South Asian Happy Hour? Like, is this what you decided to
one
do?
of our friends, Kabir, he posted on his close friends last night, and I love that we're gonna put him on blast, close friends to this podcast, being like, okay, guys, I'm about to do something. Someone please talk me out of it. And I'm like, oh my God, what is it? What is it? And he's like, I'm about to book a week-long trip for this like desi singles trip to Bali. So there's this week-long organized trip to Bali where a bunch of people are going to stay in villas for a week, specifically for South Asian people
I
who
feel
are
like
single.
Kabir would thrive. In
I
that
think he will
environment.
thrive.
Have
And he's
the
like, I don't know what.
best time.
He goes, I can't believe I'm about to do this. Somebody please talk me out of it. And I DM'd him. I'm like, send me the link. Because I'm like, I have to see like what this is. Well, because online dating is kind of dying.
It is.
And like
People are looking for new ways to meet people.
because it's all bots.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like trying new things. And I mean, I went to the very first Mohan matchmaking in Chicago.
How was that?
It was, I mean, the first one, it was really fun.
Yeah.
It was funny because I posted some videos when I was there and they all went viral.
Oh.
So then they posted my video on their main feed.
That's so
and so I
cool.
got like hundreds of emails of
Are you
guys-
available? Are you available? Are you available? Are
I was
you
like, obviously I'm here. But
That's the key. You got to make a viral video. Got to post a recap video.
my videos were unhinged. Like it was like me getting ready, being like, I'm already 2 hours late to this event.
I love that though. See, that's what people want to see though. They
it
want to
was
see the unhinged, raw, like, yo, what's
and
the
it was
real vibe?
And because it was the first one, it wasn't influencery. Like nobody was really posting from it.
Yeah.
But it was really funny because this one guy emailed me and he was like, oh, do you want to do a phone call, like a FaceTime? I was like, yeah, I'm open. And then the day of the FaceTime, he messages me. He's like, wait, like, where do you live? Are you in LA? I think I just saw that on your LinkedIn. And I'm actually in Chicago. So if you're not willing to move, I guess like maybe there's no point of a FaceTime. We had never even spoken.
Also, I love how he's like, on your LinkedIn.
I know. It was so okay. It was really fun.
Well, so the FaceTime didn't happen.
No, because he was like, because he like for me, if someone's gonna come at me with like, I don't even want to talk unless you're willing to move,
Yeah,
and we haven't spoken yet, we're probably not gonna be a good match.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like, it's interesting because I'm not. Well, one, I'm like bisexual, and two, I'm not tied to the idea of only marrying South Asian.
Yeah.
For me, it's about energy.
Yes.
And I do want communal values and like a certain level of like not too American, obviously.
Yeah.
But so it's hard because some of these events, like they're fun, but they create
Boundaries.
it's like boundaries in a way where I'm like, what if it? What I
What
get
if there's
why
a
they
girl
do it.
that's interested and you don't know because
Or somebody who's not South Asian isn't going to be there. It's just
Yeah.
and but I get why they have to do that. I get it because
Yeah.
it's going to optimize for success for the event.
of course.
But for someone like me, I'm like, I don't know I don't know. Like, I'm still figuring out the right way.
Yeah.
If that exists. What about you?
So are you going to Belize?
I honestly don't. You kind of want to go for this story. It's in Bali.
Oh, Bali. Sorry.
No.
It's in Bali.
I mean, it's probably going to be really fun.
Yeah, probably is going to be really fun.
Well, I decided that I'm going to reach out to the organizer, whoever, shout out to the organizer, and I'm going to see if they would add like a section for gay Indian women.
You absolutely should.
And I'm like, I will go recruit people. Like, I'll go find them. If you include that, then I'll go.
Yeah.
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 But I don't know yet. It just sounds, I just can't believe like even 2-3 years ago, that kind of stuff didn't exist.
Yeah. So it sounds like a really unique experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think actually tonight, one of my friends is having a singles party at his place where there's 60 people going. They had to cap it. And he made it where you can pitch your friend.
Oh, I've heard about those.
He was showing me some of the decks people have sent in. They're so insane.
Yeah.
Like people really got into it.
Like what is on the what are
just like she's childlike, but like I don't even my phone is filming. I can't get it. But they're just people put a lot of thought into it.
That's so cool.
I know. I wish you were coming with me.
It's okay. Next time. There's a cap, right?
Well, if you're free, I can see if
I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, come.
All right.
It's at 7.
Cool.
I feel like you have to come. But how do you date?
So I'm not on the apps.
Yeah, same.
I've not been on there for years.
They're not for us.
They're not for us. I also think like it's a lose-lose because the energy going into opening the app is already negative, right? Like no one is like on a yacht living their best life like, yo, let me check Bill Mill real quick, right? Like you're just like, no, it's gonna be like when your friend got engaged and you got pressure and you're like, fuck it, let me just open this app.
Your
and
ovaries
do
are
it,
like
and
aging.
That energy pouring into it, it's not even positive. So I'm like, there's no point even trying to have a conversation because no one even wants to be on this
Everyone's
app.
like kind of sad. It's
but
like sad.
No, my friends have it. Pre-COVID, my friends have had a lot of success on the
Pre-COVID
apps.
apps were different.
Pre-COVID apps were different.
They were different.
Different vibe.
That's how I met my ex.
Yeah. I mean, I met people on the apps like pre-COVID, but I think being in LA, I go to a lot of networking events. And so I am very much like, I like to meet people in person, or even if like people have like referrals, recommendations, whatever it is, I'll take them. But I'm very much like, if it happens, it'll happen. But not doing the app and not like putting pressure on it, where like I feel like for me, I've loved being single. Like I love it so much.
I like it too.
I can do whatever I want, and I have such a chaotic schedule that I'm like, I don't even know if someone can even like understand or even want to be a part of it because I'm all over the place, right?
I know, so am I.
Travel a lot. I'm going to all these weddings. I have a huge like circle of people that I'm just like, for someone to jump into the chaos, good for them. But like, I think for me, it's
jump into the chaos.
I'm just like, I feel bad sometimes. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm ready to be with anyone right now. Maybe I'm just like gonna be, but at the same time, I'm very much like, it'll happen when it happens. And my gut has never been wrong. Like I feel like even in my late 20s, when all my friends were getting engaged and married, and I'd be going to like 10 weddings a year at one point. I still remember this. I love weddings and I love celebrating love. So for me, when I'd go to these weddings, I obviously have a great time, but then you're also going to think about, oh, what's my wedding going to look like? What am I doing in my life? You know, should I be dating anybody? And you'd have all these internal conversations.
Should.
Yeah. But my gut, literally, even when I would kind of like have these internal thoughts and this and that, my gut always was like, Priya, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. When it happens, it's going to be amazing and it's going to be magical. But for you, not yet. Don't rush it. And like my gut, and of course there's times where I didn't listen and I would just date someone just for the sake of dating someone, just to like shut all the aunties and uncles up. Like, you know what, whatever.
And it does shut them up for a little while.
It does.
But they do be quiet.
I think it's so important to be honest with yourself, because once you're like fully aligned with yourself and you're being real and all your chakras are, you know, like in order, there's this energy, I know you feel it, where you don't feel like anything's wrong with you. I always tell people there's no right or wrong path. I'm just different. And I've always meant to like live on a different path.
Yeah. And I love that, because it is very recent for me that I just became really comfortable with the idea that like finding a partner is not an end goal.
Yeah.
It's just like a thing.
Yes.
And a lot of people like, okay, you're on Instagram, right? And it's so easy to get swept up in this person is hosting a comedy show. This person just got a role on Hacks. This person wrote for SNL. This person is getting married. And like all of these things are just things. And it's easy to get caught up in, I want all of the things. And I'm like, but you can't really have all of the things. And every single thing you do have comes at some kind of cost because you can't have everything. And having a partner is one thing. It's just one thing. And so once I realized that, life became so much better. Like that energy of like, I need to find someone or this. Or, I'm like, that wasn't a fun way to live anyway.
No.
And I know for me, I think I want kids. I mean, I do, but I'm also okay if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's been, I'm like, there's no way to really control it outside of, okay, I could just go get a sperm donor.
Yeah.
Which I am going to go see a sperm donor in the next few months just to
Amazing.
see how it feels.
Yeah.
Just the tip.
Yeah. I also think for me, I as I was just, dating this and that, I kind of not ruled kids out the window, but in my mind, I had the like, if it happens, it happens, but I'm not going to let having a kid rush me finding somebody. But then now I think lately I realized I was dating this amazing guy, and for the first time, nothing was wrong with the guy. He was sweet and kind and funny. He understood my schedule, and things were, great on that end, but it ended because I realized I don't want kids. And it's been like
mic drop.
It's been really hard to fully accept it because I'm like, damn, am I giving up this awesome guy, this like amazing relationship? And, there's obviously a lot of guilt and
sure.
You don't know
because you don't know. You're like, am I? I don't know.
Disappointment that you also feel. You're like, wow, I feel, I can't believe I'm like, am I really about to give all this up because of my gut? And I had to be real with myself and be like, you know what? And I'm not saying that like parents can't achieve their dreams. I think that like a lot of people that I know personally are thriving right now. They're at the peak of their careers. They have kids and it's like what they're meant to do. I just think for me, what I want to do creatively and like the time and energy that I want to put into something, I don't see myself putting into a kid, which is, it's everything. It's all of it. It's so hard. I see it right now, like the blood, the sweat, the tears, the energy, the time.
You can't pretend like it's not a thing.
It's hard. And you gotta be sure about it. You can't just be like, oh, I don't know. And so for me, I'm like, if I see myself taking all that time and putting it into, art and other passions of mine, I just personally don't see myself doing it all. And that's okay. I think like,
and maybe doing it all is a farce.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not real.
Yeah.
And maybe it is for a small percentage. I don't know. But like, I don't think there's not even any shame in it. I think it's actually like amazing to know this about yourself. And by the way, you could always change your mind. You could not change your mind.
Yes.
Like nothing is black and white, but ultimately your gut's never wrong. And if your gut was telling you this, I think it's right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also thinking of like the next, 4 or 5 years of my life, what my goals are and this and that. And kids are not on there. They're not on my vision board. They're not in my goals. I'm not like, you know what I mean? And so for me, I'm like, okay.
Ugh, they're all over my vision board, which I wish they weren't.
Yeah.
We'll see them. Maybe I'll be an auntie.
Maybe.
Again and again and again. I don't know. I'm already an auntie.
And the thing is, I love kids. I'm around kids all the time. I work with kids.
You are a kid.
I am a kid. And I play a huge role in even my niece and nephew's lives. Like I'm there for their game, their basketball games, their soccer practices. Like I'm there and I love it. And I even work with kids too. But obviously there's a difference between loving kids and having kids, right? There's a huge difference. And for me, I'm like, you know what? If I can even find other joys in being an aunt and working with kids and not having them, I think that's okay. And it's been tough to just like, I don't know, grasp the whole idea. Even talking
because your life probably feels more open in some ways.
It does. You're
like, whoa.
So open, but at the same time, right? Like I'm always thinking about my parents and
I get
how
it.
they would love to be grandparents and love that phase of their life. And even seeing all my friends and how their kids are now growing up together. Like there's always going to be the what if of like, oh man, what if I did do that or take that path? But at the same time, I'm like, I just think I'm destined for different things and taking a different path, and it's not conventional, but I was born to do different things, I guess. I think that's right. You on some deep level sense that. Yeah.
And I mean, I do a lot of these interviews. And by the way, a lot of women talk about this, even women who have kids.
Yeah.
They'll talk about how, especially women that are either kind of on the cusp of millennial Gen X, they followed a certain script, got married, especially South Asian women. They got married early or earlier than us, had kids, all of these things. I'm not going to say they regret it. It's just they never considered something else.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me that. They'll be like, I don't know. If I had to do it all over again, I don't know what I would have done. Like maybe not this. Like I just never thought about it because I didn't think I was supposed to or allowed to.
Yeah.
And I
didn't know it was an option.
No.
When I was growing up, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get married by 26, have my first kid by 28, have my second kid by 30, live this beautiful life. And now I'm in my mid 30s and I'm like, hold on, I'm not even close to that.
And it's kind of, we are at that age where if it hasn't happened, the script is just gone. So we get to decide. Yeah. And I think that's like kind of a really interesting time to be in because we don't know. And think about like, I mean, my mom got an arranged marriage.
Yeah,
so like,
my parents did too.
At like 22.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, when you think about the leap we've made from her getting arranged married and moving to a different country at 22 to like, I've now had however many years after that, because we're not going to say ages here, but however many years after that of 21? Just like time to find myself and like live. And I'm sure to her, it probably feels like, what would I even be doing?
Yeah.
If like I had had that much more time to think about it.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it though.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do your parents do?
My mom was a controller, so just like business, accounting.
Like in general.
Oh yeah. And
she was a control freak as a career.
And then my dad was in engineering and program management.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But
and you're also Gujarati.
I am Gujarati.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you speak Gujarati?
I do not speak it fluently. I know.
It's okay.
I know. I understand it.
Nobody needs to speak Gujarati. It's gonna die with this generation.
I wish though, my parents, I think when my grandmother was alive, she started to teach me, but then she passed at a really early age.
Okay.
And so after that, nobody taught me. And I wish that my parents did, but at the same time, it's like to each their own. I understand it. I can't speak intelligently, just kind of like conversationally, but minimum.
But I get it. I mean, I can speak it because my grandparents lived with us growing up for a long time.
Yeah.
But I imagine it will die with me.
Yeah.
Because why would, like, if I have kids, why would, like, for what? And if I end up with a partner, like, it's not like me and my friends are out here speaking Gujarati.
And that's like, I also think you have to constantly be speaking it in order to, which a lot of my friends do speak Gujarati with their parents. So it's always, it's inherent with them. Yeah.
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 I wonder if Tiffany does. I don't know. But I know that with my parents, my mom.
She does. Because her parents definitely.
The Indian community in Michigan is, especially the Gujarati community, is so big that a lot of people speak it because it's like what we speak. It almost feels sometimes like, not like I grew up in India, but like compared to people who grew up in places without the Indian community.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like it's almost like it was more similar to growing up in India.
Yeah, because same here, right? Jersey Indians, you're just constantly around them. And when I hear this, some of my friends are like, oh yeah, we went to all-white high school. We were the only Indians. I'm like, what?
I can't even imagine it.
I can't even imagine either.
Well, and like for me, when I think about what it means to me to be Indian, I think about like being barefoot and drinking cha, and like I don't necessarily think about like the Ambanis or Bollywood because I'm like for me it wasn't about like how Indian culture is portrayed in media. It was about living it.
Yeah.
So like lots of sleepovers, like there would always just be people, right? Like one of my this is so funny. So one of my good friends from college who I went to Wisconsin. Most of my friends were white.
Yeah.
And from like Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Nice.
So like white.
Yeah.
And one of my good friends, when we were in college, she wasn't sure if she wanted to be a physician or a PA. Mm-hmm. So she's like, can I spend this summer shadowing your dad, who's a doctor?
Oh, cool.
Obviously, to figure it out. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be there. She's like, yeah, that's okay. And I was like, you want to stay at my house for 3 months this summer while I'm like not there?
That's wild.
And she's like, she goes, it's about time for like a role reversal. So I think she went for 2 months or something. Can you imagine? Like,
wait, what was that experience like?
It was like fascinating because my house, it's like open door.
Yeah.
So there's always relatives coming over.
Same with our house. There's people coming over. Always. My mom's in the kitchen cooking.
Like if 20 to 25 extra people drop over for dinner, that's like a normal Tuesday. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of told her, I was like, I don't even know how to prepare you, but it is just different in every single aspect. And she did say the thing that she found the most different. Well, one, spicy Indian food every day.
Yeah. Could she handle it?
She could handle it. And the second thing, she's like, whenever I came to your kitchen in the morning, there would be just a family sitting there. And she's like, in the beginning, I would ask your parents like, oh, did you invite them over? Or they'd be like, no. They just like dropped by. And then she was telling me, she's like, so for my this is many, many years ago, right? So for my grandpa's birthday, when he was still alive, they all went to some big Indian restaurant for his birthday. And so there was like 30 or 40 relatives and then her. And she's like white, blue-eyed, blonde. So she's like waiting with a bunch of older Indian people to get seated. And they came up to her. They're like, who are you here with? And she's like, them. They were like, what?
That's so,
you like, who do you know? They're like, who do you know?
Funny.
And so it was actually...
She's brave.
She's very brave.
I wouldn't even do that, and I'm Indian.
I wouldn't do that with white people.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I would be kind of like not for 2 months, like maybe for a week.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'd be like, I think I would be too like, maybe I would do it, but I think I would be in my own
I would do it
head.
if my friend was with me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Be
like, yo,
I was like, I can't.
Together.
I forget what I was even doing that summer. I think I was like interning somewhere else, so I couldn't even go home. But anyway, it was like study abroad for her, but like Shah, like Gujarati style.
Wow,
in Michigan. Yeah,
that's so cool.
I've never like thought about it since it happened, but yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, what was your? I don't even know. I don't. I do think another funny thing about Gujarati people, we all know each other, which is how I ended up on a date with your cousin.
Yeah.
Well, your cousin.
You were just running through all my cousins. You know all of them.
I didn't sleep with him though.
Yeah.
Because we only met that one time.
Okay, got it.
Which not that would explain why I didn't sleep with him. Whatever. I met your cousin at Priyanka's dance class.
Yes. Shivani Didi. Yes.
And she's like, I thought you'd like him. What I did like about him though is the first half hour of our conversation, he talked a lot. I asked him like what he did for work, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a dance instructor in Miami."
He always does that,
and he
fails to talk about how he's a radiation oncologist. Like
he didn't talk about this till like an hour.
Like a baller. You know what though? I think he does that, where he introduces himself as like.
Why does he do that?
To see if girls are.
It's a good filter, actually.
It is to kind of filter out, like, okay, are you for real? Like, are you know what I mean? Or are you? Can you accept that I'm a?
No, and I loved it. I was like, that's amazing. And he was telling me about the studio he dances at in Miami and like whatever. And then like and then he later brings up. I literally think he called it like a side thing. He's like, yeah, like part time. I'm a radiation oncologist, and I was like, your part time job is that. You are.
He did go part time, but like
doctor. He
downplays that. It's so funny the way he downplays.
It was so like, and you know when you're on a date with somebody, it's just you two.
Yeah.
So like if there was like an audience, it would be like, oh, like you would turn and you'd laugh. I was like, I wish somebody else was here to understand how weird this is that he didn't tell me this till like an hour in.
That's so funny.
But that was it. He went to Miami. He like had his suitcase and he was going to Miami right after, and. I don't know. I mean, all Gujarati people know each other. That's why. I mean,
all Gujarati people know each other.
I feel like Mohan matchmaking. I mean, they're doing a thing here on the 1st.
I know. He told me about it.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, you should come through.
Yeah. So it's funny because I'm like, when people ask me if they should go, who are not Gujarati, I'm like, it's mostly Gujarati people.
I didn't know that.
Or it's not, but at least the one I went to kind of was.
Yeah, I can imagine though, right?
Because he's Gujarati.
Exactly.
So
and Gujarati people were weird.
What is like the you're a Mehta, right?
I'm a Mehta.
So what's the?
So I'm like the better Gujarati. Thank you very much.
I know. You kind of. I feel like it's like Mehtas, Shahs, Patels.
That is exactly what it is. That is the
like even I'm aware.
Mehtas, Shahs, Patels.
I'm aware that
you're a Shah.
That I'm a Shah, and that you're better. You know that in Lonely Girl, I ended up changing it. I don't know why. I might change it back, but one of the original versions of the script. I have a character who's an Indian girl from Mumbai who's kind of sassy, and her name was Priya Mehta.
What?
Like before I ever met you.
Was she a baddie?
Yeah.
Hey!
She was really like I wanted to play with this idea of like having a girl from India interacting with Indian American girls, but she's kind of the more progressive one.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have like immigrant trauma. And her whole personality was kind of like she just wanted to marry rich and chill, and she would look at her Indian American friends and be like, "Why are you guys working so hard?" Like, and it was fun because I based her off of Indian girls I know from Mumbai who would look at us and be like, "I don't understand."
Yeah.
like just chill, like, you know? And so it was really fun to play with that. And I haven't seen that done on screen before.
Yeah, that is an interesting take on it.
It's always like, because 4 More Shots, that's like the show.
I love that show.
It's really good.
Such
so
a
they're
good
all
show.
they're in India.
Yeah, they're in Bombay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who directed that? I wish I could remember.
I don't remember.
Or I don't remember anything about the show other than it was like
because it also,
groundbreaking.
I mean, there hasn't been a new season in a while. Or did it just end?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What are your favorite shows?
Ooh, my favorite show. 6 for me are like The Office, Parks and Rec,
Okay.
Modern Family, Friends. Those are like the old school shows.
Got it.
What else? What else?
I hope you can't see that my legs are hairy on camera.
No, it's okay. What about you?
Oh my gosh, I have kind of an eclectic taste. Like I love all of those shows too.
Yeah.
I loved Friends growing up.
Yeah.
I used to love The Office. Okay, so I really like the show Better Things. Have you seen
never
Better
seen it.
Things? It's
No.
with Pamela Adlon. She's an actor, director, and she's a writer, and she does all 3 in it.
I
and
love that. Yeah.
It's a show about her as like a single mom of 3, and she's also a comedian, and it's really really good.
Nice.
I love Fleabag.
I haven't seen
I love
Fleabag.
Girls.
I haven't seen any.
You haven't seen any of these shows?
I need to catch up, man. I'm living in
I mean,
the past.
Girls is like so old, but I like Girls.
Wait, was that the one where they all
the
robbed
girls in
together?
New York? Oh, that's
Oh, no.
Bling Ring,
Oh, no,
the movie.
oh.
I do
What am I
fucking
thinking?
love. I love Bling Ring.
I haven't seen I'm thinking of
Okay.
a completely different show.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do I like?
Which you want to guest star on?
So when I was in acting class, the comp they gave me was lead actress and single drunk female. And I was like, great. I would want to be in the movie Easy A. I loved Emma
Ooh.
Stone's role in that. I think that'd be
Ooh.
really fun.
Yeah. I'd want to be on Sex Lives of College Girls.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Just because I love how they're exploring kind of like being, raunchy and stuff in college. Because I feel
I'd
like
want to be Leighton Meester.
I didn't have that college experience.
Oh, I did. I was them.
I was definitely like Bella for sure, but not. I feel like they're embracing a lot more of who they are in college. But I feel like for me, when I was just,
you didn't do that.
I was still lost. I was
Oh.
still kind of just like figuring myself out and being who people thought I should be. So like I didn't know any. Yeah, I didn't know who I was.
I did a lot of crazy stuff in college, but I don't think it was like self-actualized. Like meaning
Yeah.
I did it because I was also still figuring it out.
Yeah.
And like I used to be like so ashamed of sex and stuff. And then I lived with all these like really fun non-Indian girls in college who were just more
Wisconsin,
free.
party school.
It was a party school, and I lived with 16 girls.
Wow.
It was and it was cool. It was really supportive.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a whole drawer full of like Plan Bs and condoms that was like, this is
That's so
we were kind of
funny.
like the OG feminists. We would be like, okay, if you go to Planned Parenthood and they give you a free Plan B and free condoms, we have a communal drawer. You drop them in there, and then that way they're just there when you need them.
Amazing.
And we'd have like little lectures for the girls who'd be like, maybe I don't need the Plan B today.
That's so supportive.
We'd
I
be like-
love that.
We were like, you should take it. We would like have like a panel. We're like, it's gonna be a really expensive pill later, so you should just take it.
Abortion might not be legal later, so I'm just kidding.
I know, seriously. No, they actually we had a Planned Parenthood on campus, and that was where we all did our gynecologist appointments
Yeah.
once a year. But because Wisconsin's conservative, I think my sophomore year, they took it off campus. So you had to drive like an hour to get to the first clinic.
Wow.
And it was like it was like intentional. It was like, oh, like we don't want women to have like access. So fucked up.
Oh my God.
But because it was like a red state and we just kind of accepted it. But I also love the show New Girl. And
I
was-
love New Girl.
because I loved that like Zooey Deschanel is the quirky teacher
Yeah.
and Hannah Simone, the Indian girl, is like the slutty girl who like didn't finish college. I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And like Winston is like the black dude who like loves cats.
Yeah. There's
Like,
just
you know,
all these
it's
different
like
characters.
but I remember when I would watch that show, I'm like, there had to be people of color in that writer's room.
Oh, 100%.
Because I'm like, the characters are so nuanced and they
Yeah.
don't lean into tropes.
yeah.
And they play with, and even the fact that they had 2 black guys. And it wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, we already have one, so we can't have another.
That's so true. Coach.
Yeah. I don't know. And that episode they did when Nick's dad died and they go to Chicago, like being from the Midwest, I'm like, I love how Chicago this episode is.
Yeah.
And like, Zooey Deschanel like goes to Nick's mom and she's like talking and Nick's mom looks at him and goes, is she a Spanish? I'm like, that's so Chicago coded. Like that is so, it's I had to come up with like movie poster ideas for the show I'm writing.
yeah.
And the first image I chose was a photo of Cece and Jess like in the bathroom leaning on each other.
Oh,
and I was like, that.
I love that.
Like, just being girls.
I love that. I love also they tapped into the Indian culture, right? They had Schmidt like go all out. Like I love
They're
that.
like, oh my God.
The dating convention scene where like I was like, that happens, but also props for like incorporating
Strong table, strong couple. That was such a good episode.
That was such a good episode.
Oh my God. Or the one with Cece's when they have the engagement party.
Yeah.
And Nick picks up like the wrong Indian woman for Cece's mom.
It was like the wrong.
And she's like, "Tu to pagal ho." And they like don't know. Oh my God. That was
epic. That was so
or
good.
one of my favorite lines from Schmidt was when he goes, "Who wouldn't want an Indian Jewish baby? Think about that bone structure."
Schmidt's character is so like specific.
What's his real name?
And well,
Winston.
Oh yeah, his real name?
his real name.
Oh, the actor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the actor.
Never mind.
But it's such a like
So specific.
specific, but also like tapping into the feminine side of men and like that. But that's okay.
Max Greenfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he goes, "Don't act like I don't understand gender fluidity. I'm basically a large woman."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he is.
He is, but it was like so
Yeah.
cool to see that too.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to be like the nerdy, right? Like the uptight Jewish guy, or
And he's like so anxious, which is like so apropos.
Or he's like emotional with Nick. He's like, "You're my best friend." You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
He's like, "I got you a cookie.
I
You
got
got me
you
a
a
cookie." Or that episode where like his mom won't give him money because he still hasn't written his thank you letters for his bar mitzvah. And he's like in his 30s.
That's so
and I'm like, that's so classic. If it was like 50, like it was like 18 years ago and your mom still isn't giving
Or he never knew how to do laundry, and they had to teach him how to do laundry.
So yeah, I would say New Girl is actually like one of my favorite shows. Like I could rewatch it again and again. And it is like, it's a simple premise. It's just guys and girls living together, like being friends.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I even liked, what was Winston's girlfriend's name in the show?
Ooh.
I love her. No, not Cece, the other Winston. The
Chelsea?
Nagin. Yeah, what is Allie's real name?
Oh, I don't know.
I was just looking her up as an actress the other day because I was just thinking about like what actresses I would want to work with. And I was like, I really liked her. She was good.
She was great.
I mean, yeah, in general, I'm very drawn to like, Single Drunk Female I really liked. Have you seen Single Drunk Female?
No, I haven't.
It's like about a girl. It starts with her just being like a full-blown alcoholic, and then she gets like fired from her job and goes to rehab. But I liked it because it's not so tropey. Like they do a good job of just kind of showing her flaws and like the journey of it all. And she, she's like funny and she's hot, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I just watched that movie. I feel like you'd like it, with Aubrey Plaza, My Old Ass.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's with Aubrey Plaza. Like her 39-year-old self gets to meet her 18-year-old self and like give advice.
No way. I
And
love
it's-
her.
Oh my God, I love her.
Yeah. What is it called?
My Old Ass. It's
My
kind of
Old
new. It's like a
Ass.
month or two old.
On Netflix?
I think Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What made you? There's a question I forgot to ask you that I ask
Yeah.
every episode.
Yeah.
What is your emotional relationship in your case to your eyebrows and your mustache if you get one? Because I have one to my mustache too. It's deeper.
I love my eyebrows.
You have really good eyebrows.
Thank you. You have really good eyebrows.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't have to say that.
No, you do. Isn't your podcast Eyebrow Queen?
Yeah, but mine are okay. Yeah, like, but you're a queen. I don't know. You know what? They're good. They're good.
Yeah. I also really like my eyebrow lady that I
Your lady. That is what we call them. Your
in
cleaning
Jersey,
lady and
I
your
had
eyebrow lady.
In Jersey, I had like a loyal, like she
What was her name?
Vandana. Shout out to Vandana auntie if you ever
Yeah.
see this.
Oh my God, we had a Daksha auntie.
Yeah.
There was like one auntie everybody would
one
go
auntie
to.
that just like
Yeah. And it
She
wasn't
had
like
to do it.
the name of a salon. It was a literal auntie that did it in her literal basement.
yeah.
us.
That's literally what
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah.
But I always like to have them tamed for sure. Like of course I'll
Yeah,
grow
they
them
look
out and
good.
this and that. And of course even with my mustache, like some days like yeah, it'll happen. But I usually like to tame it all if I'm being social and this and that. But yeah, that's my relationship I
Yeah.
have.
Do you get the mustache too?
I do get it, but I get it threaded.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
They always ask me at the salon, they're like, mustache too? I'm like, yes.
Well, the salon, they're like, you need to get everything done. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, thanks.
I usually I go to it's so funny. I go to this place called Namita's Threading Salon,
Okay.
And-
I go to Vinitas.
Vinitas.
Yeah.
But it's like a proper salon.
It is a proper salon.
Because I don't have family here.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
But I looked up Namita's salon the other day and I was enraged enraged because the photo they use for marketing, it's two white girls getting their brows threaded. And one of them is like blonde. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've been to that salon. These women have never stepped foot in this salon. And also, they're not threading. I was like, we don't even get to have this. It was so interesting, and it was clearly AI. It was so weird.
Because I also feel like they want to also like attract that crowd as well, and be like,
or seem
look at all these people coming to us. And,
yeah,
of course.
But yeah, they do a good job. But yeah, they like, it's like a thing. They know me now, so whenever I go in, they're like, okay, eyebrows, mustache. She hasn't been here forever.
Would you get laser?
I should. My mom keeps saying I should, but I haven't.
I want to as well.
Should we go together?
Let's do it. I'm down to go with a partner to be like, because I also like I have a very low pain tolerance. So they were like, oh yeah, just imagine like a rubber band like hitting your
vagina.
Face, and I was just
you're like talking about your vagina.
No, I want to get everything.
Yeah,
but I was like, man,
the strip.
That's. I was like, man, that sounds painful. Like I don't know if I can do it.
I have thought about doing, the thing I have thought about doing is my armpits because
I want to do that too.
Because I feel like with eyebrows, like I'll get threaded, it's whatever. But with my armpits, I do feel self-conscious, especially in hetero spaces.
Yeah.
Having hair and it grows back so fast.
Yeah.
And then even when I shave it, there's still like a shadow.
Yeah. Or so for me, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to like not wear a tank. And
then I like plan my outfit around it. But I have thought about doing it, but I've heard it's really painful.
Yeah. You want to go together?
Yeah. Should we film it?
Suffer.
We're like, can you Botox it?
Get ready with me as I get my body lasered.
You know this is gonna happen now.
Wait, that would be so funny because you could film me screaming, I'll film you screaming. Like I'm a baby.
Like, it's fine.
Like I was like, I need a lollipop and I need someone to hold my hand. Like I need
like a Xanax.
I want my mom to come with. You know what I mean? Like I just want.
Is your mom comforting? My mom's gonna make it worse. Like
my mom, I think would be comforting, but also. I remember when I first got I can't even get my legs waxed because of the pain.
It hurts.
But I remember when I did, like my mom was like, "We have to put a sock in your mouth because it sounds like Vandana's killing someone in her basement. Like you're screaming at the top of your lungs." And I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't.
No, I can't. I've waxed my legs once in high school, and I was like, I will never do this again. It hurts so much.
Yeah,
I used to wax.
I'll just
my
wear pants.
arm.
That's fine. Like I'm nope. I can't.
At least
laser
brought back long socks. So I'm like.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit, which is what my socks say.
I like your socks.
I got them in Big Bear.
Nice.
Because I got cold. I got tundu.
I always like getting like creative socks, like
we
socks.
both have them. Yours have avocados.
Yeah. Mine have avocados on them. Yeah. I like colorful, creative socks. You know.
Yeah. I go to Pilates sometimes in the mornings, and I can tell who is my age and who's Gen Z by the socks they're wearing. Well, I'm trying to give Gen Z, but I think I give Zillennial.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like the old lady that's like trying to wear Gen Z socks, but I can tell. I'm like, how old is she?
I feel like we can pull off Gen Z.
We can pull off Gen Z.
We
have good skin.
Do you use Gen Z slang?
What's the latest?
I was looking this up because I literally like want to like
to prepare for this podcast. You're like Gen Z slang.
Gen Z slang.
Eyebrow aunties.
Some of them are crazy. Some of them like I use like
Riz.
Well, I don't feel comfortable using Riz.
I think Riz makes me feel old because it feels like I'm trying really hard.
Let's say I'm talking to a Gen Z and like I'll like
a Gen Z,
a Gen Zer, I'll throw in a word, but like I won't sound cool. I'll be like, "Yo, you think that guy has Riz?" And they're like, "Don't even try. Don't even like."
Well, it's weird, right? Because with dating, like the other day, I went on a date with a guy who's 44, but he looks young.
Yeah.
And I said something like, "Oh, it's like giving," and then he made some comment about like he was trying to then say it because like I said it, and then I'm with like a girl or a guy who's Gen Z. Then it's like the opposite where I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know which one I am. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like trying to play both sides.
Yeah. I feel like if I try, I can like
generational chameleon.
I can talk like a little bit, but like I say like bet. Dude, the first time
What's bet?
Bet is so funny. Bet.
See, I don't know.
Bet is yes, apparently. Okay. That is funny because I remember I was like texting my cousin or something once, and or it was a friend. I don't even remember who, but I was like, "Oh yeah, be there in 15." And he was like, "Bet," and I was like, "Do you want to bet that I'm gonna be there in 15 minutes? I'll be there in 10." You know what
You're
I mean?
Like combative. He's like, I was just saying yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, no, he was just saying yeah. And it's just
why
like
bet? This is aging me. Mohammed, can you explain why bet?
That's how it is.
I mean, it's cool. I think it's cool. They can just create their own lingo for,
I mean, I guess we did it too. But
we did it too.
Yeah.
Like I love the ate and left no crumbs.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
ate that. Like,
She
I
ate
like that.
That I feel like I get.
Yeah, and that I can say. Like, I'll comment on people's Instagrams like, she ate fire emoji, fire emoji.
grandma emoji. Like, I mean, it's weird, right? Because in certain contexts, like our age is also agnostic. Like we could be 28, we could be 42. 10 bet. I don't think I did that.
This podcast slaps.
This podcast slaps. Because you also never want to be the person that fucking tries too hard.
Yeah. No, sorry. There's one term.
I'm like slinking in my seat. I'm like, I don't want to try to do it.
There's one term. I kid you not. It's falalalutin or falalalugan. Because I was looking it up because I was like, I want to know all the Gen Z slang. Apparently, this term means good in bed, and I was like,
falalalutin.
I was like, even if someone called me that,
it's not sexy.
I know I'm good in bed.
Like
Even if someone called me that, I'd be like, fuck you. Like, I would not take that well. If someone was like, ooh.
What's the right context?
I
Is it like you say it to the person you just fucked, or you're like talking to somebody else and you're like, she was falalalutin?
I don't even know if I'm saying this word right, but
you know what? I draw the line. That's the word I draw the line at. Like, I can't.
That's the word you're like, you know what? I'm not speaking Gen Z. I can't do it.
I'd rather someone say she ate.
Yeah.
Because maybe I did eat.
Yeah.
I can't. But what made you want to do this today?
Well, okay, so I think that I also want to start putting out more content and getting myself out there a little bit more. But I think with me, yes, I do comedy, but I also there's so many different parts about me that need to be let out. And it's interesting. I don't even like, when like you first meet someone and they I don't like being introduced as a comedian right off the bat when you meet someone, because then there's this expectation. Then there's an expectation of like, I've had guys be like, by the way, you didn't make me laugh. You haven't made me laugh. And I'm like, give me like 10 minutes.
You're like, falalalutin.
I promise you, I may make you laugh, but like, I think that there's just so many different elements about me. And of course, comedy is a strength, but I also feel like I have a lot of life experience and stories and this and that, where you can have a natural conversation with someone. And of course, we have funny banter, but it doesn't always have to be funny all the time. I always felt like, oh man, I should be putting out all this specific type of content. But I'm like, no, there's so many different parts of me that also need to be let out as well, which is also just like having a natural conversation on a podcast. And also, you are a light, like what you've been doing for the community and your career and everything. You have this amazing energy. And I feel like every time we talk, it's like we connect on so many different things, and energy never lies. And so,
yeah, and we have so many things we have not talked. TBD.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of things I have been thinking about since our conversation at lunch that I know we're not going to talk about today, but to be continued.
To be continued.
I remember coming to your comedy show last year and being like really blown away by the community of it all. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I didn't realize you'd only been doing it for a short time.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I also
or that you were like my age, and that we have similar paths from like finance and tech into this, and that's not easy. And there's some strength we bring to it, because I think we're like fucking business. Like Kelly Kapoor says, we are business bitches.
Yes.
I think we bring that to it, but it also is challenging because artistically, I still feel like I'm sharpening every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad. No, I'm really glad that you came to my comedy show, because also I want everyone to feel a sense of like, you're never alone. Like, look how many people are here. I also think in LA, you got to give to get. So like for me, I do make it a point to go to like my friends' dance classes or like a screening, or celebrating people's wins, or like a party with like my friends who are DJing or singing or whatever it is, so that when my turn comes, people show up. And I also think the comedy community isn't as supportive. Like, you won't see a lot of comedians in my audience. You're going to see everybody else though. You're going to see actors, directors, and that, because comedians, there are obviously people that support, but it's not in the numbers that I would have expected, because I think also comedians are hustling, or they're probably like, well, I should be on the lineup, or I should be doing this or that.
Right,
but like,
I
don't see that a lot, which I'm like, no, I want to bring that of like, no, I want to go and support everyone and do whatever I can.
Right. And and I think it's interesting for me, because I used to do stand-up in New York like many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't really done it out here yet. And maybe I will. I've done a couple open mics, but
I'm going to put you on my show.
I know.
Absolutely. Get ready, baby.
Fuck.
Sold out crowds.
I'm scared.
No, you're going to kill it. You're going to kill it.
I'm experimenting. I think with this podcast, it's been really fun, because I get to explore the multidimensionality of different types of people, including comedians. And we do show up differently depending on what the context of the thing is.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it.
Yeah. I also think it's just like, it's nice to just have a conversation where the premise isn't like, be funny, be funny. It's more of like, be yourself.
Be yourself.
Be real. You can connect on different things.
And we're both naturally, like everybody's kind of naturally funny in some ways, right?
Everyone is kind of naturally funny. You just kind of like to find your own groove and the people that you want to have conversations with.
Right.
Yeah. But thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. This was awesome.
Well, thank you for sitting on my couch with me and riffing. I love you.
Love
and
this.
more to come.
More to come.